right. Hello, everyone. Good day. How are we all doing? My name is Ajibola Dokas, Editor Analytics Associate here at 10Alytics, and I am so glad to be here. I would love to meet each and every one of you here. I can see a number of people. I can see a number of audience here. So I'd like to meet each and every one of you. Kindly do well to send in your name and your location so that I would know who my audience is. I would know who I am speaking to. If you can hear me, please can you kindly drop your name and the location of for which you are joining from. Once again, my name is Ajibola Dokas. I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria. I would love to meet each and every one of you. I would love to meet each and every one of you. Kindly drop your name and your location in the chat box. All right, we have a number of people here for me not to get responses. Okay, I can see some responses. We have All right, we have Okonkwo Ifunaya from Anambra State. We have Oyin from Canada. We have Ricky from UK. We have Nancy from Kaduna. We have Richard from the UK. We have John Bosco from UK. All right. Thank you all so much for your responses so far. Um, I'm so delighted to have you here. I'm so glad to have you here. Right. I welcome you all to today's session. Today's session is going to be a project showcase section, right? Where please just give me a second. All right. It's going to be a project showcase session whereby we show our students of analytics show they talk about the projects they've worked on within 3 months of training here at 10Alytics, right? Please let me know if you could see my screen. Hi, Oindamola. Could you kindly confirm you can see my screen?
Yes, I can,
All right.
Dorcas.
All right. Thank you very much, Oindamola, for that, right? Once again, everyone, I welcome you all to 10Alytics, right? And I'll be the host for today's session. So we have our wonderful participants in person of Giwa Solomon and Magdalene, which are our current students here at Analytics, and they're going to be giving you insights on projects they've worked on. They're going to be walking you through the process of how they went about their analysis and the projects they work on thus far here at Analytics, right? I've mentioned 10Alytics, 10Alytics, 10Alytics. I know a number of us are wondering what is 10Alytics, right? Not to worry, I'll be walking you through what 10Alytics is in the coming slide, and also I would advise that you stay to the end of the session because we have goodies for you, right? As you all are special people, right? Without further ado, if you're excited to be in the session today, can you give me a one in the chat box? If you're excited for today's session to see how people have grown from to experience to see people's growth, right? Even in here at 10Alytics, right? Growing from no knowledge to being an expert or to being knowledgeable or to being professionals in fields they are in, right? I would like to warn you though, this session is not going to be just talk, right? It's going to be it's going to be you seeing for yourself what our students are capable of and what you are potentially capable of, right, when you join analytics. So without further ado, let me start. Let me proceed with the presentation. Right, first of all, once again, my name is Ajibola Dokas, right? Okay, all right, just give me a second, please. All right, okay, just give me a second. My laptop is coming up, right? We have okay, as my laptop is coming up, I would like us to recognize the presence of one of the participants in person of Giwa Solomon. Could you kindly say hi to the people, right? And let people see you and hear from you. Okay. Is Solomon on the
Hello,
chat?
Dorcas. Good evening.
All right, Solomon. Solomon is here. Yeah. Thank you very much, Solomon.
Yes,
Right.
you're welcome.
Without further ado, I'll be going straight into 10Alytics. Who are we? Who is 10Alytics? Right? 10Alytics is a leading edutech company focused on providing specialized trainings in technological skills and delivering comprehensive data consulting services. With over 5 years building talent from for the technology workforce, we have helped over 3,855 plus people transition from the classroom into landing their first tech job across different countries and different continents of the world, ranging from the UK, US, Canada, Europe, Africa, Asia, and wherever you can think of, right? If you're excited and you would love to be one of these people who will land their first jobs even after training, can you give me a let's do 100. Let's do 100. Give me 100 in the chat box. Let me see 100 in the chat box. If you know you're excited to be one of the people that will land their first tech job after, can you give me 100? All right, all right, all right. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I love the responses I have so far. All right. So here at Analytics, we are committed to making this technology sector more accessible through premium and experimental training in different programs like data analytics, business analytics, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics. We have the Agile Project Management and Scrum Master program, same as the we also have the cybersecurity program, and more recently the product design and DevOps engineering program, right? Um, and here at Analytics, our team of instructors are from leading global companies like Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey, Amazon, and so many big organizations. Trust me, here at Analytics, you are fully covered, right? We have expert facilitators, top-notch facilitators that would bring you from a state of not knowing to a state of being a professional in whatever field you desire to venture into. They bring a wealth of knowledge of from real world experiences, and they are dedicated to delivering an engaging practical and learning experience that ensures you receive the maximum value for your investment in your future, right? Because whatever steps you take at this moment, whatever steps you take, you are definitely investing in your future, right? So up next, I'll be talking about myself. You may be wondering, what was speaking? Okay, yeah, Dorcas, and so right. All right. So my name is Ajibola Dorcas once again. For those that are joining us, I am a dedicated data analytics associate here at Analytics, and I am passionate about guiding individuals into data-driven careers through structured learning and mentorship. At 10 Analytics, I play a pivotal role in managing the data analytics program, ensuring the smooth flow of learners' experience, the onboarding process, the engagement, and the program delivery, right? That equips the participants that we have with the in-demand tech skills in the analytics field, and ultimately guided them to land their first data analytics job, right? I'm a data associate at Analytics once again, and I have supported and mentored over 600 aspiring analysts, helping them build their confidence, right? Master core analytics skills in tools like Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau, and so on, right? And transitioning into meaningful roles in tech, right? Um, my approach combines strategic program management with personalized guidance, making me a key driver of growth and transformation in the course that I take, right? Yes, I would also like to mention that my colleague here too would be also facilitating another part of this program in person of our beautiful Elizabeth Nana. She is a product manager here at She's a product manager and a senior agile project manager here at Analytics and a clarity coach at Analytics. With half a decade of experience in product and project management, she is a skilled leader and a coach for agile teams, consistently driving impactful results. As a clarity coach, she has helped aspiring professionals gain direction, gain confidence, and even actionable steps to transitioning into rewarding tech careers. Right, Elizabeth has trained over 1,000 professionals across 4 continents, right? And her experience spans various sectors, including the health tech sector, the fintech sector, and edtech sector, where she has applied her deep knowledge of agile methodologies to deliver value and transformation, right? So that is that, right? So we're going to be going straight into the session, right? This session is divided into 4 parts. Yeah, this session is very into four parts. As I said at the beginning, we are here to our students are here, students currently in cohort, they are here to showcase the programs, the projects they've worked on so far, being here at 10 Analytics. So as I said, it's not just we speaking that, oh, we do this. This is us giving you, like, you bring in the proof of our products, right? The proof, right? The proof, right, that we are doing well. And then we have two of our participants who would be giving a we will be giving a um briefing about the projects they've worked on, walking us through how they went about their analysis, how they went about the project, also walking us through the insights and the recommendations they were able to get from the projects that they worked on. Also, after that, we're going to be talking, my colleagues also going to be walking you through the in-demand tech skills. Previously I mentioned that we have different trainings here at 10 Analytics, including data analytics, business analytics, financial analytics, HR analytics, and many more, right? She's going to be walking you through these in demand skills, and she's going to be helping you figure out which one best suits you, right? Which one best suits you. After which, we are going to be listening to success stories about how our participants were able to like land jobs, land their six-figure jobs, land their high-paying jobs, and we're going to be telling you the skills and the tricks that you can also land that six-figure job. Once again, if you are excited and you're enthusiastic to land your first tech job, not just first tech job, your first tech high-paying job, can you give me 100 in the chat box? Another 100. Let's do another 100. All right. All right, all right, all right. Well done, everybody. And then lastly, right, as I said previously, we are going to be giving a special discount to people who are going to be speaking. She's also going to be speaking about our upcoming cohort and giving you insights into the special discounts we have for you because you all are special people, right? Without further ado, I'm going to be bringing up the first person in person of Solomon. Hi, Solomon. Are you there? Kindly turn on your camera and you can proceed to sharing your screen. Okay.
Hello, please confirm if you can hear me, Dorcas.
Hi, Solomon. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, welcome to the session. Right? Could you kindly share
Okay,
your
also,
screen?
thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Confirm if you can see my face, please.
Yes, we can see you. We definitely can see you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. All right, a minute, please. Let me share my screen.
All right. So as Solomon is bringing up his screen, just a brief about Solomon. Solomon is part of this. Is one of the students of our data analytics August cohort, and is going to be walking you through a project he worked on so far in his journey here at 10 Analytics. Hi, Solomon. You have the floor.
All right, thank you so much, Dorcas, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Good evening, everyone. I'm indeed glad to be here to share in the world of experience from what I've learned so far within the past 3 months. Okay, so the past 3 months have really been so wonderful and full of experience. Um, you've rightly introduced me. My name is Giwa Solomon, as Doc has rightly said. I'm a data analyst enthusiast. Yes, I said this deliberately because prior to now, I've always wanted to be a data analyst. But before then, anytime I hear of data or I see a data table, I'm always afraid. But now I'm proud to tell you that I am a data analyst enthusiast from the August 2025 cohort. Okay. So my academics, I have an academic background in educational technology from my first degree and in my second degree. But I'll say again, what I value now most is my data work. And credit to 10Alytics, I'm able to now do things I thought I could not do. Okay, quickly, I am to share my experiences with 10Alytics for the past 3 months. Truth be told, if I am to take you through all that I've learned, time might not really permit us. And as such, I will just be narrowing it down to project, one project I work on that stood out for me. Do I really say stood out? No. One project I pick randomly because I think there are conflict of which project to talk about when I first got the notification to turn in for this section. So I'll be taking you through the Novamed sales and customer analysis project I did recently. And I'm using this because I use a tool, a data analytics tool that to me, I would say has stood out for me for now. Though I know I still have some to cover in my next 3 months before I round up my program. So let's quickly dive into what I have here. Okay. So Novamed Solution is a leading pharmaceutical distributor that was faced with challenges in optimizing sales performance, managing inventory efficiently, and identifying key market opportunities. All right. So the company needed a deeper analysis into what the revenue, their profits, and their sales volume is. The company also wanted to know about its month-over-month comparison performance, and also wanted to know what product is driving more, is returning more revenue and profits to the company, and then what customer is driving the sales. Okay, so the company also wanted to know what demographic of customers are actually their key patronage. That was the problem that the company were facing. And so they needed deeper analysis into their data set. Okay. So the goal of the analysis was to uncover insight from the 2023 sales data, including revenue, profits, top selling drugs, and customer demographic that guides better decision making. So that was basically why we needed to carry out this analysis. And so what the company did is they submitted approximately 3 data table talking about, sorry, my slide is freeze. Just give me a minute, please. Okay. All right. So the company submitted 3 data table, and the 3 data table that the company submitted were the customer information table and the drug lookup table. Just a minute, please. Sorry. All right, fine. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so like I was saying, the company submitted 3 data table. That is the customer information table and the drug lookup table and then the fact table. So what I did in my own side as an analyst is to use Power BI for the analysis, my favorite tool. And what I did first is to create a calendar table so that I can now be able to leverage on the star schema data model techniques of data modeling on Power BI. And so I created a one-to-many relationship on this very data table, and then I built DAX measures, that's data analysis expression measures for key metrics, for total revenue, profits, and cost margin. Okay, so because of all this and the Power Query transformation I did on this very data table that were submitted, it enables me to visualize both sales trends, customer behavior, and interactive dashboard. Okay, now what the company needed to know was the 3 basic key metrics, which is the company wanted to know its revenue and the profit and then the sales volume that they have been able to have within the month of the year of 2023. All right. So for me to, after doing all that, I came up with this interactive dashboard. Okay, so the dashboard basically what it does, it gives clear insight into key performance indicators like the total units sold. So from the analysis I did, we had 269,000 units of goods that were sold within the year 2023. That was impressive, right? Okay, let's go further. The company also was able to expense the cost of 12.85 million as the total cost of goods sold. Wow, this is already pointing out to something. So from the analysis also, we could see that this company generated a total revenue of 71.31 million. They couldn't just see that from the data table, right? And then from the solid profits the company generated was 58.45 million with a profit margin of 81.97%. Wow. That is to say that this company, the insight we can see from here is that this company is having a good source of its raw materials or its finished product. For the company to spend just 12.85 million and yet generating 71.3 million as revenue with a profit margin of approximately 82%, it shows their source of goods is okay. So data-driven recommendation would be that, okay, sustain this source of this source of your commodities or your finished product. And then also the company wanted to see a month-over-month comparison, okay? So what I did was to go into analysis and I used the column cross start and line chart in Power BI. So from my analysis, we could clearly see that the month of February, April, June, and August, October, there was a massive decline in their sales, okay? We can also see that from this analysis, the month of January, March, May, July, and September, there were increase in sales. Now, what this is showing us is that there is a repetitive pattern in their sales that is affecting the business wrongly. Let's look at it. In the month of January, there was an increased sale, and in the month of February, there was a decline. And the same thing repeats in the subsequent month. So there is need for stakeholders to dive deeper into investigating what is it that is going wrong. Could it be that there were months in campaign and promotion that result to higher sales? Or could it be that the company run a rotatory workforce for their staff, maybe on a monthly basis? So whatever it is important for the company, the stakeholders, to dive deeper and investigate what is the cause and then correct it. But the good news from this analysis, we could see that the month of November and December, there was a whole steady sales, right? So this is telling the company that, okay, what you did in the month of December, that there was no repetition of the frequent or the usual happening, need to be sustained come 2024, okay? So now the company also wanted to know about the top performing customer. Yes, so from the analysis, we discovered that David Johnson contributed a total revenue of 3.5 million. And then the underperforming customer was Carol Smith. And this very gentle lady was contributing just 0.27 million. That shows that something is wrong. Why is something wrong? You could see from this analysis that the margin, the distance between the margin between the top performing customer and the underperforming customer is very wide, approximately 10x. Okay, when you multiply 200 in 3.5 million, you'll be having close to 10 times difference. So there is an abnormality, and it could be probably because the business is driving more interest on those who are buying more, and which is not healthy. There is need for the business to also consider those who are not buying more. There is need to organize maybe premium package or loyalty package for them to encourage them to buy more packages from them, and that will make the business to sell more better. The company also needed to know its top 5 drugs contribution and bottom 5 drugs contribution. And from the analysis I carry out, you could see that doxycycline contributed about 3.5 million to the company revenue to the company, and then warfarin contributed 0.225 million. That is also another indication. We can see that is either maybe the company is laying emphasis on those drugs that are selling well on the pharmaceutical store, and then forgetting those drugs that are not selling. Maybe that was why there was no patronage. So now there is need for the company now to create maybe a combo package or a premium package that will say, okay, if you are buying doxycycline, we can also help you to give you this as a package just to improve sales for the lower sales drugs. Okay, so this is for the top and bottom sales analysis. I split this into two. The second one we'll be looking at is the customer analysis. But there's something I want to say here. Remember that the key metrics that the company needed were just 3. That is the profits, revenue, and sales volume of the company. They wanted to see how this has been faring across this segment. And so what I did is to create a custom metric selector where I now use it now as a filter, as a slicer on this dashboard. So when you want to see for profit, you just toggle to profit. That is what I have here. And then when you want to see for revenue, you toggle to revenue, and same thing with sales volume. And then the stakeholders are able to see what is really happening in their business. Okay. So now quickly, we'll be looking at the part B of the analysis, which is the customer analysis. Okay, we can see that this very company within the year 2023 had a maximum of 200 customers. Is that clear? So now from these 200 customers, the company has a total average revenue contribution of the customer type called the preferred customer. This preferred customer contributed about 0.38 million, and they followed by the new customer and then the frequent buyer. Okay, so there's need for this company to encourage the frequent buyer to also up their game by giving them also loyalty package and encouraging them to do well. And for the preferred customer, yes, there should also be something for them. Let's say the company can decide to now create a premium package or two, just to encourage them, okay, when you buy 3 in a month, you have a bonus, just to sustain their buyer, and then sales continue to flow in the company. Now, talking about customer, right, we're talking about demographics. So we want to see what demographic gender is actually dominating this very business. And from the analysis I carry out, you could see that out of 200 customers that the company had, we had 94 out of them, giving us a percentage of 47%. And this percentage shows that men actually contribute, drive the sales in the company. And then there is a worrisome factor here from my analysis that I could discover. You could see that the other gender that is not defined is contributing 41 persons, giving us a 21% other gender that is not defined. And this very other gender is contributing about 15.1 million. This is to say it is important for us to know, and it's possible that maybe the data entry of the company is careless about taking gender specification of their customers. And it is very good for us if they can give us this amount of revenue, right? So there is need for stakeholders to emphasize the need for accurate capturing of data, even by demographic data. So the company also wanted to know top 2 performing geographical location. And from my analysis, you could see that North America, Canada precisely drive the highest revenue and profit, followed by Australia. Okay, so now this shows that these are the top performing locations. So other locations, they are sales, but they are not as higher as these very 2 places. And for us to see now what is playing out in the business, on the right hand side chart, you could see I have the revenue distribution, country and customer type. Okay, so we discovered that the sellers actually drive the business in Canada, and Canada has the highest portion of sales. So the strength of Novamed solution is at Canada. Their highest market is in Canada. So there is need for the company now to begin to create awareness. Maybe there is no brand awareness at United States and France, right? Maybe probably that's why they're having this low. So data-driven recommendation will have it that the company should carry out a campaign and promotion to be able to establish the brand awareness at this location. Just to take you through, there are so many insights we could deduce from this, but because of time factor, I might not be able to take you through, or just to give you an oversight of what I did. Now, as a recommendation, generally, I am recommending that the stakeholders to convert new customers into preferred ones through loyalty programs. Okay, that's part of the things I talked when I was analyzing the interactive dashboard. And also, stakeholders should improve marketing for low-performing drugs. Yes, if warfarin is not selling, there is need for marketing, there's need for promotion and campaign. And then should expand effort in high-performing and potential market. Yes. So now Canada and North America is actually the highest selling region. So there's need for the stakeholders to increase performance, or to increase promotion around this place to encourage people to continue to buy, and also look out to places that they are not actually doing well. So from what we can see, we also want them to, I also recommend to them that they need to time use Power BI for dashboards to be able to see interactively what is happening in their business. Okay, so doing now, I'm able to sustain my business, because if they have to do this, definitely they have to hire me. So that's part of my recommendation. Now, in conclusion, this project strengthens my understanding of data modeling, visualization, and storytelling with Power BI. Power BI, my most wonderful tool. Yeah, I don't know what Tableau will be very soon. I'll be going, but I am assuring you, Power BI stood out for me for now. So I'm also saying that it's good for me to say that out to you all, that through 10Alytics, I learned to transform raw data into actionable insight that drive real business outcome. Okay. Before now, I am afraid of data, but now I can confidently tell you that when you give me a data, I feel excited, because I know that there are hidden stories I'm going to unveil for you. Thank you very much for listening, and this is the end of what I have to say.
Thank you
Dorcas, are
so
you
much.
listening?
Thank you so very much, Solomon.
Yeah,
You
thank
gave
you.
a very good insight into your projects. Thank you so much. Can we celebrate? Can we give Solomon? Can we
Thank
clap for
you.
Solomon? Use the confetti emoji and all, because he did well, right? Thank you so much, Solomon, and well done, right? I just have a few questions for you, right? Before you
Thank
drop
you.
off,
Thank
I have
you.
a few questions for you. Well
Thank
done
you.
once again. You did absolutely well, right?
Okay.
So I know at the beginning of the session, you actually did say you didn't have any experience, right? You even said it's what you were doing. You said you didn't have any previous experience, right? You were afraid of data, right? So
Yeah.
what would you call, what are you going to say your
Yeah.
skill level is? Like, what would you say is the difference between your skill level right now compared to when you started? Would you say you've grown to be a better data analyst and all, right? Just tell us about a little bit about your growth so far, your skill growth, basically.
Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you, Dorcas, for that important question. I'm smiling. You know why I'm smiling? Because before 10 Analytics, I have this idea that I only know about data analysis, funny enough. So when you ask me, I want to learn data analysis. And when you ask me what data analysis is, Microsoft Excel, right? I don't need to collect values on Microsoft Excel. I didn't know about Power BI. The first time we talk about Power BI, my friend of blessed memory, he said, I said, he said, what is power bike? Is it a bike? Or I said, I don't really know, but it's a tool for analysis. But you just hear me saying now that data Power BI is one of the two that stood out for me. So, truth be told, before coming here, I know only data analysis, which was not worth it. Okay. But now I have now better understand that data analysis is just a segment. My first week into 10 analytics, that was what I was taught. So when I was watching my element, I was just laughing alone. Okay. So honestly, I am more confident. I am more. Uh, I don't know. I wish I can meet you one on one and explain this, but then no problem. I just want you to know that I'm very confident. If you want to know more, please drop a data set on my DM now, and then let's discuss one on one. Get it straight.
All right, all right. Thank you very
Yes.
much for your
Thank you.
response, right? Also, what would you
Yes.
say
Yes.
motivated you to like take the first step into data analytics, right? What you said you
Yeah.
were scared previously. So what made you take the first step into data analytics? What made you start?
Okay. Honestly, truth be told, it wasn't easy. I said earlier I have a background in educational technology from the first degree to my master's. Okay, and even at when I started my PhD, still on that. But at a point, I realized that the society is changing. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Okay, the society no longer appreciates just normal conventional university certificates. So I needed to level up. I needed to change some stories I feel I can actually change. So I was wondering, how do I get about that? So I needed to get a tech skill. And then a friend suggested 10 Analytics to me. And then I went on to do my little research. And what I saw, I was convinced beyond reasonable doubt. In fact, I was not having the money to pay, but I said I was going to start. And as I speak with you now, I'll be paying my last payment on the 7th of December. Yeah.
Wow.
So the truth is, it was not easy, but I needed to level up. I needed to
Yeah.
change some things happening. And so that has been driving my commitment and everything I do in analytics, truly. And I'm really glad that I'm actually living the life I wanted.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really glad that I'm doing that, truth be told. Thank you so much.
All right. So the last question I would like to ask you is, what has been the most exciting moment or your most like your proudest achievement here, like during your journey here at 10 Analytics? What has been your proudest achievement and all basically?
My proudest achievement, getting to see data set I want to go close. That is it. Before now, I said if I see data, I'm always afraid. Let me tell you something that happened when I did my LinkedIn optimization, right? I did my first post after 10 Analytics guided me to do my LinkedIn optimization. So after that, I made a post, my first post, immediately I began to get reactions on LinkedIn. So when I got those reactions, I was a bit confused. So what do I tell these people? I don't know anything about data analytics, and now they are beginning to ask me questions on data analytics. I wish they can chat me up now. Oh my God, I wish they can say, hello, Solomon, let's talk about Power BI, or let's talk about Microsoft Excel, or let's talk about SQL, right? I don't want to talk about Tableau now because I don't know, but I know I shall conquer. Okay, I will
Yeah,
conquer. Yes.
I believe in you. Right?
Yeah.
Just
Thank you.
one more question, right? Are you going to describe your overall experience here at 10 Analytics as? Like, what's your overall experience here at 10 Analytics? How would you describe it?
Okay, I would say 10 Analytics is for me, 10 Analytics is God sent for me. Okay. The experience at 10 Analytics has been so wonderful. Even when I had this fear for SQL, for PostgreSQL and Power BI and some tools that data analysts use. When I came into 10 Analytics, there are a lot of platforms. 10 Analytics have made a platform where I get to learn everything I want. Okay. Let me just say the one that stood out for me. Which one would I even say? Is it the LMS? The LMS is so wonderful that even if you don't attend your live class, you already know how to solve the problems. Okay. But do I talk about my drop-in section, where if I have a challenge 24 hours in the course of my learning from Monday to Friday, I can always reach out, drop a link. I don't need to click, and someone is there to say, Solomon, what is your challenge? Okay. Wherever I can't be able to pronounce the name, but I'm thinking of a drop-in instructor, right?
Maybe.
The day I turned in, I was like, were you
Yes.
waiting for me to just say I want to talk? Okay. And then she was able to guide me through anything I want. So you don't even have to get stuck and you are thinking how to go about it. The system is so organized in such a way that I have everything I want, and then learning becomes very easy. Now, do I talk about my life section? I'm talking about Stanley. Oh my guy. Hey. Okay. Do I talk about that? Or do I talk about my instructors, facilitators that are just waiting for me to say, I don't. Then you ask me, what don't you understand? Which one do I talk about, Lucas? So generally, the experience has been wonderful, truth be told. It's been so, so wonderful. 10Alytics is wow. Let me tell you, I don't have a job yet, but I don't feel afraid again. I know very soon I'll tell you my story, okay? Because I feel
Yes.
so confident of what I do right now. Thank you very much. I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank you so much for joining in today, Solomon. Thank you so much for walking us through the project, and thank you for walking us through like a baby, right? You did justice in that, right? Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. I'm glad I did. Thank you.
Thank you very
All right, thank
much.
you, 10Alytics. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Solomon. Right.
All right,
So now
thank
I'll
you.
be handing over to my colleague in person of Nana Elizabeth. She's going to be facilitating the rest of the session. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Dorcas. Hi, please
Hi,
confirm you can hear
Elizabeth.
me.
Yes, we could hear you. We could hear you.
All right. Thank you so much for that session. And before I start, hi, Solomon. You don't have to turn on you don't have to turn on your camera anymore. But while you were presenting, I was so proud. Solomon, I remember the first conversation we had, right? When you said you don't have any background in tech, you had also told me, about your interest in data analytics. And I'm so happy to see that you have the confidence now, just a few months in, to come on a session like this and explain, what's the things you've been doing in class, your project, as well as your experience. So well done to you, Solomon. Thank you so much for that. And if you take a look at the chat, you see how you didn't just blow my mind. Okay, just take a look at the chat. Now, for other people on the call, I know some people are just joining in. You see the link that my colleague Iyanu Oluwa is dropping in the chat. That's the link to the attendance form. Please make sure to click on that link and fill that form if you'd like to have a recording of this session, as well as the slides that I'm going to be sharing shortly. All right, because this session is recorded, so if you want to have a replay, you can have that. We just need to have your details, your email address, so that we can share the recording of the session with you. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen now. And I know the question on a lot of people's minds, like, I mean, I've shown you, or at least Solomon has walked you through one of the projects that he has gotten to work on within 3 months here at 10Alytics. Now, what exactly is the importance of project? A lot of people will say, yes, I've done this boot camp, I've taken this course, but you didn't work on projects. And you need me to tell you what exactly is the importance of this project, especially if you're looking, to get a job. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that theory alone does not cut it. All right. So it's not enough for you to know what DAX is. I was taking a look at the comments. I could see Desiree, just putting a comment in the chat and all of that. Desiree, big ups to you. Now, it's not enough to just know what DAX is or know some of these concepts and some of these terminologies, whether you're a data analyst, you're a project manager, you're a data scientist, you are an HR analyst, whatever it is that you are, it's not enough to know the concepts. It's not enough to understand the terminology. You need to put your hands to work. All right. You need to be able to get your hands dirty because, there is a difference when you learn something by reading and then when you learn something that you actually get to do over and over again. The one that you get to do over and over again sticks because it becomes a routine for you. It's something that you can defend anywhere, even if you're asleep. You see someone like Solomon, if he's asleep and they tap him and say, come and explain this project, come and explain Novamed. He can explain it, the way it would explain to a baby, just like Dorcas was saying earlier, right? Now, it's because you got to work on projects. Now, when you move on to the interview phase, right? When you start applying for jobs, you're getting interviews, you need to be able to defend your work. Simple, right? Because the recruiters are going to see your beautiful CV And yes, 10 Analytics is going to make your CV look very beautiful. But then they are going to need you to defend that CV. So how do you do that? If you have worked on projects, if you have a portfolio that you can show them. Now, the next thing is, as a beginner, working on projects. Working on projects is the only way you can gain confidence in your skill. Again, I'll keep talking about Solomon. Solomon, please don't get tired of hearing your name tonight, okay? So look at Solomon once again. I will always refer to the first conversation. Maybe Solomon doesn't remember, but Solomon, we had a conversation, before you went ahead to join the data analytics training here at 10 Analytics. And Solomon told me, point blank, he told me he's a beginner. He has interest in data analytics. So he doesn't know. He was even telling me that he was scared. He was scared of, data. He wasn't sure he was going to be able to do it. And look at Solomon today. Now, I could see a lot of reactions in the chat. He was presenting and people were like, oh, I'm in love with your presentation. What if I told you that Solomon was once a beginner? Before we proceed, I want to also hear from Desiree says, hi, Elizabeth. It's scary when you don't have a background. I understand it. So I want to hear from people. Now, if you're an absolute beginner, you don't have any tech experience whatsoever, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. However, if you are one of us here at 10 Analytics, or you have started taking trainings, you have some experience, but you're looking to upskill, I want you to put a 2 in the chat. Let me see my people. I see Ifunaya. Hi, Ifunaya. We meet again. Okay, I saw Elizabeth Tando earlier as well. So I see Abdul 1, Queen 1 as well. Desiree, I see your comments. Ayop says 2, Sheun 2. Okay. So we have, it's equal. So we have some newbies and we also have some people who have some sort of experience, Ulushola, as well as HP user. All right, fantastic. Now, the only way you get to build your confidence, right? Because it's one thing to know it. You can take a course, you can take a program, it. But when they tell you to come and present, just the way Solomon did, you're going to be shaking because you're not even sure what you're going to say when you have an audience. Now, when you work on projects, that's the way you build confidence. That's the way you gain confidence. You know that you know this. Someone was saying, those people that reached out to him on LinkedIn, then he wishes they can reach out to him now so that, once he starts telling them about Power BI, they know that, okay, this is a professional talking. Now, that's the only way you are able to, build that confidence, gain that confidence in your skill. Because it's one thing to pick up the skill. It's one thing to learn it, but it's another thing to be able to beat your chest and say, yes, I know this. This is something that I know. This is something that I can explain to people. This is something that I'm proud of. That is another importance of project. Now, the third and final one is recruiters need to see that you have experience and you have done what you say you can do. Again, it's not enough to have a beautiful CV. You can quote me anyway. You can record the sound of my voice right now and quote me anywhere and say, someone at 10 Analytics, her name is Elizabeth Nana, and she said this. It's not enough to have a beautiful CV. When you go on your CV, you package. That's what we call it here at 10 Analytics. So package your CV very well for you. And then it looks so beautiful. Recruiters are reaching out to you. They want to have a conversation with you. Now, when it gets to the interview stage, they need to be able to see, even before it gets to the interview stage, actually, if you're smart enough to link your portfolio on your CV, right? I'm going to be talking more about that in, a few minutes. If you have your portfolio linked on your CV, they want to be able to see, you're saying that you have 4 years of experience as a data analyst, right? And they're like, okay, 4 years of experience, we should be able to see some of the projects that this person has worked on. That's where your portfolio comes in. And what do you have on your portfolio? Guess. The projects that you get to work on here at 10 Analytics will actually teach you how you can build your portfolio and house all these different projects, in your portfolio. That is proof. That is evidence. Sometimes we say, back in Nigeria, I say show workings. It's not just talking. Show workings. We want to see the evidence that you actually know, exactly what it is that you claim to know. You have actually done it before. Because these recruiters, they're going to be paying you a lot of money. Dorcas was talking earlier, she was talking about 6 figures. It's not far-fetched. All right. You're able to get a job, land a job that is going to pay you 6 figures. But the people that are going to pay you the 6 figures, they need to make sure that they are not wasting their money. They want to know, how are we sure that this person we're about to hire and pay this huge amount of money, monthly, with other perks, other benefits, how are we sure that this person knows exactly what they're coming to this company to do for us? That is, another importance of projects. Now I could go on and on, but because of time, I'm going to stop there. Now, again, I cannot overemphasize the importance of projects. We have a lot of people that have passed through this phase. Okay, there are people that have joined in as, people who are looking to upskill. Yes, they had a background in tech already, but they needed to get additional skills because, again, in this world, it's constantly evolving. All right. And you want to make sure that you are not redundant. You are not left behind. There's always a new tool. There's always a new technology, a new technique that you need to learn. So continuous improvement, continuous learning is something that is important. We have people who have some sort of background in tech. We have people who, are absolute beginners, like a lot of us on this call. And so one of the, people who joined 10Alytics to upskill, is Victor. Now, Victor learned in a project-based environment and he was able to solve real-world problems. He was able to work on projects like NovaMed, just like Solomon. And one of those projects was for a credit union, helping them to reduce their non-performing loans by building a loan default prediction model. And I'm going to be talking to us more about prediction shortly as a data scientist. Now, Victor worked with data analysts, data engineers, and other stakeholders during his internship, and he was able to build a portfolio to showcase his experience. Now, I want you to take just take a screenshot or, note this name down. Victor Omoboye. You can search him, look him up on LinkedIn and look at this person, this person that took this program. Look at him on LinkedIn or just follow him, try to connect with him on LinkedIn, and you can ask him questions around his experience here at 10Alytics. Now he was able to build that portfolio to show his experience, and that was what helped Victor get to, where he is today. Now we also have portfolios, different portfolios of different, participants, students that we've had here that have gone on to do greater things, people that have gone on to land jobs. They are linked on my slides. Again, if you want to get these slides, make sure to fill the attendance form that my colleagues have been dropping in the chat so that you can also get the slides, go over them. All these portfolios are linked. A lot of wonderful resources are linked on this slide. So if you would like to have access to them, go over it by yourself at your own time, spend your time and read everything that you want to read, because I know some people, they want to do their research and read and hear this and hear that. You can do that. Just make sure to fill the form. All right. Now let's just move on. How do you get started? Now, I've been talking about projects and projects and projects. The people on the call are like, okay, we have heard, where do I start from? How do I start, working on these projects? Now, that's why I'm here. So the first step that you want to take is you want to begin by identifying and choosing the right career path for you. Now, just to make sure that I still have people listening to me, we have over 50 people on the call. I also want to hear from you. So if you join this session, whether you are a beginner or you already have some sort of background, whether you're a beginner or you already have some sort of background, if you join this session already knowing the program you want to go for or the career path that you find interesting, whether it is data analytics, data science, which is DS, agile project management, business analysis, which is BA, I want you to put it in the chat. I want to see, the different people and the different programs that you are interested, in. So data science, project management, business analysis, you can just put acronyms, right? You can put BA for business analysis, PM for project management, DA for data analytics. So I see Fred is interested in data analytics. Wonderful. Anybody else? Dio is interested in business analysis. Fantastic. Fumi is also interested in data analytics. Anyone else? We need more people. Rookie is interested in product design. I see Prince. Prince is interested in data analytics. Okay. We have some people interested in cybersecurity as well. Andrew is interested in data engineering. Fantastic. So now, if you are part of the, the people, if Naya is interested in 3, if Naya, you're going to have to pick one. Okay. Now, if you're one of the people who don't know, what career path you're interested in yet, it's okay. That's fine. That's also why we're here. So I'm going to be walking you through these different career paths and you're able to identify the best one for you. Okay. So what are the tech skills that you need to learn right now, to get a job quickly, especially going into 2026? All right. Now, every single year here at 10Alytics, we, carry out some sort of analysis. we take a look at all the different job boards that you can think of. All right, LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, Total Jobs, CV Library. We take a look at all these different job boards and we scrape them, for jobs that have the most recurring frequency, so the highest frequency. So we're able to identify, let's say, for example, we check, job boards in Canada, and we see that in the year 2025 alone, from January 2025 till up until, November 2025, we've had about 54,000 job posts for business analysts. Now, what that signifies is, they're really looking for business analysts in Canada. That is a high demand, skill. It's in very high demand in Canada. So what we do that for all the different programs. And then when we get all these job posts, what we do is we then conduct our own internal data analysis. And we look at these jobs that we've gotten. And we use different, criteria to also measure these jobs to see which one is fit for us, right? Now, the first criterion we compare these jobs to is ease of learning. Yes, there are some jobs that could be in high demand, but then how feasible is it for you to learn the skills that you need for this particular job in 6 months? All right, 6 months is a long time. How feasible is it for you to learn it in 3 months? So that when you're called for a presentation, just like Solomon was, you are able to explain and break down that project that you worked on. You're able to explain that tool. You're able to explain that concept. You get a firm grasp of it. So we want to make sure that when you get into, you try to learn this skill, get this skill, in 6 months' time, you're a professional. All right. Ease of learning is the first one, especially for a lot of us, like myself. I've not seen the four walls of the classroom in, donkey years. A lot of us have been out of the classroom for a while. So how easy is it for someone that has been working for the past 12 years to now put his or her head down and learn this new skill? Is it easy to learn? That's the first thing, the first criterion we look at. Ease of learning. Now, the second criterion we look at is ease of transitioning. A lot of us on here, we already have, jobs that we're doing currently, maybe our educational background, and we're looking to pivot, we're looking to transition. So you see some people, I've been a nurse for the past 5 years. I've been a doctor, or I'm a pharmacist. I was a pharmacist back in Nigeria, but now that I've relocated to the UK, I work in care, or I'm a farmer, or I was a teacher, I'm a lawyer. Right? Now, how easy is it for you to transition from that your current career path, okay, or that educational background that you have right now? So we want to make sure that it doesn't go to waste, okay? So you now transition into something that you're still able to utilize the skills that you had before. So we're not entirely dumping those skills. We're not throwing it in the bin. Don't worry, your 5 years of nursing experience, your 10 years of medical experience, it's not going to go to waste. You're still going to use those skills that you have, but now you're moving to a higher level. All right, you're transitioning. How easy is it to do that? How easy is it for someone who has been a teacher for 8 years to transition into a program like business analysis, for example, right? Or someone who has been a lawyer to go into cybersecurity, GRC, or business analysis? That's the second criterion that we look at. Now, the third one is why a lot of us are here today. Tech money, all right? High rewarding salary. Do these jobs pay well across the different regions? Whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Asia, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in the US, whether it's in Canada, do these jobs pay well? And after this analysis that we carried out, so we're able to, come to these 10 different programs that we offer here at 10Alytics. 2 of them are very new. And that's because we keep going back to analyze the job market. We look at what is currently in high demand and how we can also ensure that our participants benefit from that. So we have business analysis, we have agile project management, Scrum Master Professional, we have data analytics, we have data science, we have data engineering, we have cybersecurity, we have financial analytics, we have HR analytics, product design, and DevOps engineering. All right. Those are the 10 different careers or, programs that we offer. Now, what are the skills that you need to land you a job, a 6-figure paying job in 2026? Walk with me. Now, we're going to start the way I arrange these different, programs. I arrange them in order of, their technicality or their simplicity. So we're starting off with agile project management. Okay, this is the simplest. You see, when I hear someone who says, I don't have a background in tech, please, I want something that will be very easy. I'll be able to land a job on time. I'm not a tech savvy person. I don't even really know how to use a laptop. I'm just trying to break into tech. Please, I hope you're going to hold my hand. I recommend the Agile Project Management Program to them. Now, who exactly is an Agile Project Manager? A lot of us on here, if we have kids, I was speaking to someone earlier today. I was trying to ask her, oh, is your husband a football fan? Because I was trying to give an example. And she says, oh, my kids, actually play football. So I always take my kids, for football training. I was like, fantastic. So if we're on here, if you have kids, that you take for football training, if you are a football fan, or you are, if you're a football fan, or are married to a football fan, then you understand what I'm talking about. When we talk about, the football coaches now, these are people that are working with the players, the football players that we see on the field. The coaches work with them in the background just to ensure, okay, guys, this is the formation we are going to use. We're going to use formation 3-3-7 or 3-3-5. Pardon, I'm not a football fan, by the way. So, the footballers in the house, please don't take offense. All right. But we're going to use this formation and that formation. Oh, this is the playbook we're going to use. This is how we're going to play. You are going to stand here. You're going to stand here. They work with the players behind the scenes. But when it's time to actually play the football, right, the coach does not follow them onto the pitch. Now, that is very similar to our jobs, as project managers. So we're working with a team. We always have a project team that we're working with, right? And it is our job to now make sure that these people are executing and delivering the project, within the three most important parameters of project management. When we talk about project management, we're talking about scope, the boundaries of work of that project. We talk about the budget. Every single project has a budget. Now, it's your job as the project manager to make sure that you and your team, if this project was awarded $100,000, right, or $200,000 or $1 million, you want to make sure that you and your team, you are not spending above, the allocated budget, right? If we have $100,000 for this project, you want to make sure that you keep your spending, within that $100,000 budget. You have to plan a lot to make this happen. And then the third one, which is also very important, is the timeline. Every single project has a timeline. All right. The projects could be running for 6 months. It could be 8 months. It could be 12 months. It could be 2 years, right? 24 months. Regardless of the timeline, you want to make sure that your team is delivering on this project in record time. They're delivering that project within the timeline that was allocated to that project. That is your job. Long story short, that is your job as a project manager. Now, here at 10Alytics, our courses are beginner friendly. So you don't have to have, of course, there's some programs which I'll talk about, that requires a little bit of technical standing before you can get into it. But, generally, all the programs are very beginner friendly because we're actually going to take you from the basics when you get in. So we start off strong with introduction to project management methodologies. The different methodologies you need to know, like your agile, your waterfall, your hybrid, or some people call it wagile, all of these different methodologies. What are these methodologies? What do they mean? When we say methodologies, we're talking techniques now, right? The techniques you can use to execute a project. Now, how are you also able to identify the best technique you can use for a particular project? When you get this project, you look at this project and you say, I think the waterfall methodology would be great, for this project. We teach you that, and we teach you the project management structure. The phases your project has to go through in order for you to have a successful project. Your project initiation phase, to project planning, to project execution, to project monitoring and control, and finally to the project closure phase. Now, all the relevant documentation that you need to have, that you need to prepare, your project charter, how to carry out a feasibility study, your business case, your Gantt chart, your WBS, all of these relevant documentations that you need to prepare in each of these different phases, you actually learn how to do them. We also teach you the skills of a project manager, how you communicate with your audience, how you communicate with your stakeholders, as a project manager, the foundations of Agile and Scrum. What exactly is the Agile methodology? Then we do a deep dive into the two most popular, frameworks. The two most popular Agile frameworks we have, like the Scrum framework as well as the Kanban framework. So we teach you end to end. You make sure you understand the Scrum framework, the artifacts, how to write user stories, end-to-end use of Jira and Confluence, as well as Trello. How do you use these tools, these technologies to track your project, the health of your project, the progress of your project? How do you use these tools to assign tasks to, your team members, especially when you're working remotely. I'm sure a lot of us on here, we also want to get jobs that are maybe would offer us a hybrid schedule. You go into the office 3 times a week, and 2 days you work from home, or some people want completely remote jobs. Now, of course, that is possible, but how are you able to track? Because now you're not seeing these people face to face. How do you assign tasks to them? How do you track the progress of the tasks? And then we go on to, Kanban boards for workflow management. Now, I mentioned earlier that we do end-to-end Scrum. So we're also going to take you through Kanban, end to end as well. And then we have agile metrics and reporting. Now, this is how you're able to track the health of your project, how you're able to tell if your project is on track, if you are behind schedule. Oh, are we on track? We have 3 months left for this project. What is the percentage completion? And if you're not on track, if you find out that you're not on track, what exactly is it that you need to do, to get on track, to get on your zone? And then how do you also track the productivity of your team members? And then we move on to leadership. What is leadership? What is management? Now, these are two very distinct and important concepts that you need to understand if you're looking to get into project management. And how do you combine the both of them? And then we talk about reward application. Now, every single thing that I've been talking about, not just for the project management program, but all the programs, you learn them using projects, just like Solomon. All right. So if you're learning how to use these tools, you're learning Scrum, you're learning Kanban, you're learning Jira, you're learning Trello, Draw.io, you're learning how to use them using projects. So from your very first live class, you actually get projects that you start working on. And that's how you're able to build your confidence. And finally, if you're someone who is interested in taking a professional certification much later, to advance your career, like your Prince 2, your PMP, your PSM 1 and 2, your CAPM, your CSM, this program also helps to prepare you for that. All right. The knowledge that you're going to gain from this project, from this program, actually, is what you're going to, the questions that you see in those examinations is what you'll be learning in class. Now, for the way the classes are structured, and this cuts across all the different programs, we have a blend of Saturday live classes as well as self-paced learning. So for the live classes, you have live classes 2 times in a month, and they happen on Saturdays. So 2 Saturdays out of 4 Saturdays in a month, you have a live class. And we have 2 different timings for the live classes to accommodate your schedule as well as your different time zones. So we have the morning class, which is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, and the evening class, which is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time. So we are able to select the class that best suits you. All right, or the time that is convenient for you. Maybe you work in the morning, but you'll be available in the evening. You can join the evening class, or you can join the morning class if you'll be free in the morning, but you'll be busy in the evening. It's up to you. All right, you have the agency to choose. And then we have our self-paced learning where you get videos that you can watch. We had Desiree, we had Solomon also talking about the LMS. I'm sure a lot of us were wondering what the LMS is. It stands for Learning Management System. Now, upon registration, every single participant is added to the Learning Management System where you have pre-recorded videos, okay, that you can watch over and over and over and over again. Pre-recorded videos of your facilitator walking you through all these different concepts, all the different tools. So this is something that you can watch. As you're watching it, you can open your laptop and try to replicate what you're seeing on your screen, try to do it on your own, right? And if you have any questions, we have what we call drop-in sessions that happen 2 times in a week for every program except the data analytics program. 2 times in a week, you have a drop-in session. It's a question session. So when you start learning and studying, you hit a roadblock. You have a question. Someone was talking about how we would just book a session. You have a professional that would walk you through. You get to ask your questions. You're able to, get that guidance, real-time guidance that you need. You're even able to share your screen. So it's quite different from this session. You're able to unmute your mic and speak, raise up your hand and all of that. And then you're able to get the clarity that you need on your questions. The drop-in sessions, we treat them as mini classes. So in as much as you have 2 major live classes in a month, you have drop-in sessions 2 times every week, just to make sure that we're not leaving you on your own. We still, draw you close in case you have questions, in case you need guidance with your learning. We're here to take you every step of the way. Now, the learning timeline for all of our programs is we have 8 months. So 6 months learning in class and then 2 months of internship. So you spend 6 months here with us, and after learning for 6 months, you are going to be moved into our partner company, Amdari, which is a company in the UK where you get to work with them and intern with them, gain more experience. I saw someone asking earlier in the chat box if we have or if we offer UK experience or UK reference, and the answer is yes. All right, so I'll talk more about that in coming slides. Now, next we have the business analysis program. For my BAs in the house, I want you to put your favorite emoji in the chat so I know the people that I'm speaking to. If you're interested in business analysis, put your favorite emoji in the chat. All right. Emojis. I'm not seeing any emojis. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Oluchi. Oluchi is interested in business analysis. Thank you, Dayo. All right, fantastic. Dayo Adekunle. That name sounds very familiar. All right. Now, what exactly do you do as a business analyst? What is your job? I call business analysts problem solvers. Okay. And this is a role that is also in very much high demand and is needed in a lot of organizations. As a business analyst, you're a process person. You're in charge of optimizing processes. What that means is, you walk into every single organization that you walk into, you're looking at how things are working in that organization. What is their process? What are their processes like? Is this process not working as much as it should? Maybe it's the process of generating revenue for the organization, for example. And you take a look at it, and we are not generating as much revenue as we should be. What that indicates is that there's a problem with the process. Now, as a business person, of course, we're a solution-oriented person. We're thinking of how can I optimize this process? How can I make this process better? Now, oftentimes you're making processes better, not just for the organization, but also for the users, the people that the organization serves. Now, I'm going to use a very brief analogy. I tell stories a lot, so, just bear with me. I want to make sure that you understand, exactly what you're getting into if you're interested in business analysis, or even for people who don't exactly know what they want to do just yet. Okay, so I'm going to use a little analogy from Nigeria, the banking sector in Nigeria, how it was, and the impact of a business analyst, into changing it into what we have, today in Nigeria. So back in the 1990s, okay, story time. Back in the 1990s, we did not have ATM machines, ATMs. So we got our first ATM around 1992. And even when we got the ATMs, they were not the most accessible. So it's not like, I'm sure the way it is right now on every street in Nigeria, in all the different states, maybe you have at least 5 ATMs. Back then, it wasn't like that. And even when, people that lived close to ATMs, they didn't really know how to use them. So what that meant was every single thing you needed to do with your money, you had to go into the bank, right? You needed to go into the bank to do that. Even if you want to send anything as little as 5,000 naira, 2,000 naira, you want to receive some money from your brother, from your sibling, you had to go into the bank to do it. Now, what this meant was if I have Nigerians, that were in Nigeria back then, what this meant was the banking halls were always full. Back then I remember when I was in Nigeria as well, my mother would wake up very, very early in the morning, right? The banks used to resume around 8 a.m. My mother would wake up 6 a.m. and she's getting ready to go to the bank. And she prefers to get to the gate and wait for them to resume operations for the day. Now, the reason for this was so that she would, they would attend to her on time, because she knows that there's always a crowd. There's always a very long queue at the bank. Now, the process used to be you walk into the bank, you join a very long queue. You could spend hours. You could spend 2 hours. Imagine standing on a queue. And then when you finally get to your turn, they start to ask you questions. Oh, what do you want to do? What do you need? Who do you want to send money to? Who are you receiving money from? And so on and so forth. And by the time you answer these questions and they're satisfied with the questions, they give you a slip or a form to go and fill. So you go somewhere, you sit down, you fill this form, and then you have to join another long queue to carry out that transaction. So that used to be the process. Now, a business analyst walked into this banking sector in Nigeria and looked at this process and said, no, why are we asking people to join a queue and stay on this queue for like 3 hours before they are able to get a sleep? Is there not a better way we can give them this sleep? And then the business analyst said, I think a better process for this would be that we have tables or counters that we can place strategically around the banking lobby. right? And these tables or counters, they are different, there are forms on them, the different types of forms that we have. Now we have a security personnel that stands at the door of the bank. So once a customer walks in, the personnel greets the customer, and says, what would you like to do today? Now when that person says, oh, I want to make a deposit, the security personnel is able to say, oh, do you see that, do you see that table by your far left? Can you go to that table? Please pick up a form there and fill that form or fill that slip. Or do you see that table by your far right? Go to that table, pick up a slip there and fill it. Now, what that has just done, as simple as it sounds, is that it has saved people more time. It has eliminated the first queue, that long queue you'd have had to spend hours on. That's taking it out of the equation totally. Now, that is the job of a business analyst in a nutshell. So now, as a business analyst, you're going to start off learning process mapping. How do you map out processes? In order for you to optimize processes, you need to be able to know how to map them out, right? How do you map out the current process of of things, how things are currently working, and then map out the process you're envisioning in your head, the to-be process, the optimized process. You learn process mapping using tools like Lucidchart and Draw.io. Now, we didn't stop there. This is the global field now. It's the global markets. We are in the big leagues. We're playing in the big leagues. Now, if you're looking to get a job as a business analyst in the global markets, anywhere in the world, recruiters do not just want someone who would say, hi, my name is Desiree, or my name is Dayo, or my name is Oluchi, and I know how to optimize processes. I can optimize your process for you. No, recruiters want something more. They want you to have additional skills. They want it to be that when they give you the business data of an organization, you are able to make sense of that data, right? A lot of times, in order for you to find out what the problem with a process is, you need, to be able to take a look at the business data. Sometimes the answer to the problem, there's a problem, the company knows there's a problem, but they don't know where the problem is coming from. Sometimes the answer to that problem is in the business data. You need someone who can understand it. Now, what we did was we went into the data analytics program and we borrowed these 3 data tools from them: Excel, Power BI, like what Solomon was presenting earlier, Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Now you're going to learn it from scratch. Just like I said earlier, you learn the basics, you learn the fundamentals. We take you from beginner to professional in these tools. Now, we didn't stop there. Business analysts are selfish people. I love to say that a lot. We didn't stop there. We also went into the Agile Project Management Program, and we borrowed 2 courses from them: Project Initiation Planning, as well as Agile and Scrum for projects. Now, the reason for this was also very strategic and very simple. Here at 10Alytics, we want the best for every single person that registers for our program. Now, what happens when you propose a new process in an organization and it's a project? What happens then? If there is no project manager to execute that project, at that time, because sometimes the projects or the processes that we propose could be a project. We'll talk about the business analyst using the banking analogy earlier. And as much as the business analyst introduced, having empty tables where you have slips and forms and whatnot, as time went on, we also got the mobile banking application. So it's not everything you need to go to the bank to go and do. Some things you can do from the comfort of your home. All right. Now, that mobile banking application is an example of a project. It's not just a process now, it's a project. Now, sometimes when you propose a new project, a new process to an organization, and it's a project, and they look around and they don't have any project manager on ground, they look at you and they say, Oluchi, this your idea sounds nice, so we would like you to execute the idea for us. Now, in that case, what do? We're going to teach you how you can initiate projects like a project manager, how you can plan for projects like a project manager. So when it comes to planning your budget, your Gantt chart, how do you do this like a project manager? How do you execute projects like a project manager? The Agile and the Scrum framework. How do you apply this to project? Now, what this means is that, as a business analyst that took this particular business analysis training, you're able to land a job as a project manager. You're able to land a job as a business analyst. And you're also able to land some roles as a data analyst. All right, it's the best of 3 worlds. It's a combination. It's called, this is the combo course. If anybody asks me, oh, I want the combo course, this is it. It's the best combo course, the most versatile program here at 10Alytics. The learning timeline, as well as the way the classes are structured, is the same. It still stands with what I explained earlier. So that is, that about business analysis. You also learn how to utilize AI. the world keeps evolving every day. You want to make sure that you are not left behind. So you learn ChatGPT for business analysis, you learn requirements fundamentals, user acceptance testing, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and so much more. Okay, now let's move on to data analytics. Now, I just want to say before I talk about the data analyst that if you're a people person, if you know that you love communication, you can join a meeting just like Elizabeth and talk and present and speak to people, then business analysis or agile project management is for you. If you love communication, if you don't mind being in front of teams, so if you want something very simple, go for agile project management. If you are interested in getting those extra skills, business analysis, project management, data analytics, you can go for the data analytics, the business analysis program. Now, let's talk about the data analytics program. As a data analyst, if you are not a people person, if you prefer to work in the background, regardless of your current career path, whether you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're a salesman, you are a pharmacist, if you love to work in the background, then you should be looking at the data rules. Leave project management and leave business analysis for people who enjoy speaking, people who are people. Okay, so if you're not a people's person, you can go for the data analytics program. Now, this is one of the easiest career paths we have here at 10Alytics. Just ask Solomon. All right, very easy to get into, whether or not you have a background in tech. This is something you can do. Now, what is the job of a data analyst? A data analyst is someone who analyzes and interprets data for organizations in order to support their decision making. Every single organization in this world has data. All right. Here at 10Alytics, we also have data. So we have our in-house business intelligence analysts. We have our in-house data analysts that are analyzing our data for us. What this means is that because every organization has data, every organization needs a data specialist. They need a data analyst that can interpret that data for them. Now, regardless of the sector, the beautiful thing about tech is that you can do it in any sector of choice, whether it's healthcare. So it doesn't matter if you have a nursing background, come to data analytics. If you have an educational background, come to data analytics. You can do it in any sector, even if you want to stay in healthcare, you want to become a healthcare data analyst, for example, it's something you can do. Now, regardless of the sector you're in or the sector you are looking to get into, as a data analyst, you answer 2 questions and 2 questions only. What are those 2 questions? The first question is what happened? All right, the what. What exactly happened here? Now, the second question is, the why. Why did this happen? Those are the 2 questions you answer. Chicken, that's it. All right. What happened and why it happened? And you're able to answer these questions using what we call historical data. That means data of events that have already happened. So it could be something that happened yesterday, something that happened last year. You saw when Solomon was presenting, he was talking about an organization that submitted their data to take a look at their sales and all of that, their sales cycle, what products were selling more, how much they made, things like that. As long as that's happened and you have the data available to you, you are able to take a look at that data, interpret it, and make sense of it. Now, should I go into, are we tired? Or should I say, just explain, go into a little story or an analogy to explain the role of a data analyst? If you'd like me to tell a little story, just to explain who a data analyst is, put a 3 in the chat. I see Stanley says, yes, please, put a 3 in the chat. Okay, I see Blessing, I see Stanley, I see Blessing, okay. All right, Ifunaya, Dorcas, all right, fantastic. Okay, I'm going to go ahead to explain it. Now, let's imagine my aspiring data professionals on this call. Imagine you're currently working at 10Alytics. Or let's not use 10Alytics. Let's use a random, organization. So imagine you're just working at a random organization right now. And, this organization, they're trying to gauge their performance, from the beginning of the year till right now. Let me see the people I have on the call, because I want to make sure that I'm speaking. Okay, fantastic. So they're trying to gauge their performance from the beginning of the year till this moment. This is November. And they take a look at their, their books, their revenue, and they see that they made $1 million from January till November, $1 million in revenue. $1 million is a lot of money, okay? So of course, they jubilate and they're happy. But after that, any forward-thinking organization, they're thinking of what next? Okay, we have made $1 million this year. How can we make $1.5 million next year? Or how can we make $2 million or even $3 million? How can we come up with different strategies that we can use to make this money? Every organization wants to make money, right? Now, in order for them to do that and to come up with strategies that work, they need to take a look at their data. And that is where the data analyst comes in. So someone like Stanley, let's say Stanley is the data analyst at this organization. So they come to Stanley and they say, Stanley, so we saw that we made $1 million this year, but we're trying to understand where this money came from. We need to really understand this data so that next year we can make $2 million. All right. Now, remember the two questions I said Stanley answers: what and why. So Stanley carries out the first type of analysis, being the descriptive analysis. That's what we call it, to answer the question, what happened. And when Stanley carries out this analysis, Stanley sees that, he's able to break down that big number, $1 million, is now able to break it down according to the region that a certain percentage of that money came from. Now, what that means is, yes, we made $1 million in 2025, right? But out of that $1 million, $500,000 came from the US market, from our customers in the US. $200,000 came from our customers in the UK. $50,000 came from our customers in Canada. $20,000 came from our customers in Zimbabwe. Now, and so on and so forth. Stanley is able to break it down that way. Stanley is able to tell the company, this is what happened. This is where the money came from. But then, when you find out something like this, imagine making $500,000 from the US and you're making $20,000 from Zimbabwe. They're going to ask you why. Okay, why is it happening this way? How come we made $500,000 here, we're making $20,000 here? Is it that we don't have customers in this place? Should we stop operating? Should we pull the plug on our operations in this region and focus on the US? Now, you want to carry out your second type of analysis to answer that question, why? Why did it happen? So when you do that, you now find out that the revenue gotten from these regions is actually directly tied to the marketing spend for that region. Now, what it means is that the place we got $500,000 from, we directed 50% of our marketing budget. We're running campaigns, adverts, billboards, magazine, ads, newspaper, everything. If you buy newspaper, you open it, you see our company. If you're just walking on the road, you see a billboard, you see, our company. And that's why we're able to make so much money. New York, Times Square, there's a big billboard with our company on it and all of that. So people know about us. But then in Zimbabwe, we didn't even do any adverts there. We only directed about 1% of our marketing budget to that region. Now you're able to tell, the stakeholders what happened and why it happened. Yes, we made $20,000 from Zimbabwe from January to December, but the reason it happened was because we only put 1% of our marketing budget there. We were not really spending money on marketing, so people don't even know that we exist. Now, once you prepare that report and you share with the stakeholders, they say, Stanley, so what you're trying to tell us right now is that if we also want to make a lot of money from Zimbabwe, let's also, increase our marketing in that region. Let's dedicate more money to that region. Let's not just focus on one place, because there are other avenues where we can make money as well. So imagine now in 2026, they make $500,000 from Zimbabwe, $500,000 from the UK, $500,000 from the US. You see that they're already increasing their revenue that way. That is the job of a data analyst. You're able to help these organizations make sense of their data and make data-driven decisions, because whatever decision it is that they take, from that point onwards, it is backed by data. They're not just guessing. They didn't just wake up and say, I feel like we should do this. No, they did exactly what their data told them to do. Again, beginner friendly. Anybody can be a data analyst. The learning timeline, as well as the way the classes are structured, is the same across board. Now let's move on to the next one. The data scientist. So when I talk about the data specialists, the data roles, where we have data analysis, data analytics, data science, and data engineering, I love to refer to them as brothers. Okay, the data analyst is the last one, the simplest one to get into. If you don't want any technicality, you have no background in tech, you want something very simple that will not stress you, data analytics is great. Now, when we start to look at the data scientist is the middle brother. The data scientist is the elder brother of the data analyst. Now, what that means is, as a data scientist, you can do everything that your younger brother can do, your younger brother being the data analyst, and then you can take it a step further. So I mentioned that the data analyst answers 2 questions, and 2 questions only, right? The data scientist is able to answer 3 questions. So the data scientist can answer the question, what happened? The data scientist can answer the question, why did this happen? And then the data scientist can tell you what will happen in the future. It's not magic, okay? The data scientist is able to build a model. I talked earlier about predictive models when I was talking about Victor. He's able to build a model that can predict based off of this data and tell you this is what is going to happen in 2027. This is what is going to happen in 2026. This is what is going to happen in 2030. All right? You are able to predict the future. Now, this is a skill that, of course, a lot of organizations are also looking for. Now, if you're looking to get into data science, you have to be interested in coding. You have to be interested in statistics because you're going to be learning Python programming. Okay. Now, notice what I said. I said you have to be interested. I did not say you have to know it. It's okay if you don't know it, but if you're interested in learning, then you can go for data science. However, some people say, I'm not interested in coding. I don't want coding. Elizabeth, I want something very simple and I want to work in the background. Go for data analytics. But if you're interested in coding, you want to learn how to work with AI, machine learning, computer vision. Computer vision is what is on my screen right now. I can tell you right now that I'm at the beach. You don't know because you can't see my background. You can just see me and you see the backdrop. Okay. Computer vision is also what is used for speed cameras. If you're wondering how all these traffic cameras are able to capture, license plates, people that are speeding and all of that, that is computer vision as well. All right. So if you're interested in learning how to play around with all of these different things, exploratory data analysis, GitHub, ChatGPT, Microsoft Fabrics, then you can go for the data science program. Like I said, it's a bit more technical than the data analytics program. But if you have the interest, you can get into this as a beginner as well. So on a scale of, if we're looking at difficulty, I can put the data analytics program on a 2/10. That's very simple. And then I can put data science on a 5/10. So it's in between. It's not too hard and it's not too simple. So if you're someone who likes a challenge, you don't like simple things, you want something that will challenge you a little bit, you can go for the data science program. All right. Now, data science also affords you with more opportunities, in the job market, because then remember, you're able to do everything that a data analyst can do. So you can apply to jobs as a data analyst. You can also apply to jobs as a data scientist. So if Elizabeth is a data analyst, right, and Dio is a data scientist, Elizabeth has 5 jobs that she can apply to as a data analyst, all right? And Dio has 5 jobs he can apply to as a data scientist. Now, Dio can also apply to my 5 jobs because he can do what I can do. So that means Dio has 10 jobs available to him, but I only have 5. So that is, the benefits, the competitive advantage the data scientist has. All right, just to make sure I still have people listening to me, put a 1 in the chat. If I'm not boring you. Blessing is here, Stanley is here. I see people that are engaged. I think I'm boring some people. Maybe I should stop here because I don't see a lot of 1s in the chat. All right. One more person put a 1 in the chat so I can continue. Okay, Billions. I see Andrew as well. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Let's go into data engineering. The eldest brother, the firstborn of the family. Now I call the data engineers the firstborn because this is on a scale of technicality, this one is probably like a 9/10. Now, again, it doesn't mean that it's impossible to learn. It just means that, I want you to know what you're getting into if you're interested in data engineering. Now as a data engineer, you are responsible for designing, constructing, and also maintaining infrastructure. And we'll talk about infrastructure, we're talking about, databases, processing systems, for the storage and also the retrieval of data. Forget about all of that English. If any of us, I'm sure all of us, we have houses, with rented apartments, your own house, you've been to construction sites. You know what the plumbers do, when it comes to houses, where there is a borehole, you bring in a plumber, they connect, their pipes. I don't know how they do it. They perform their magic. They connect their pipes from the borehole or from the source of water, and they connect these pipes to maybe a storage tank for the house. So maybe from a borehole to a storage tank, and then still connect more pipes everywhere in the house. So everywhere you have an outlet, maybe a tap, you have running water. So if you go to your kitchen and you open your tap, as long as there's water in the storage tank, you have running water. If you need to take a shower, you turn on the shower, you have water coming out as well. You go to the backyard, as long as there's a tap there, you want to wash your car, you have water coming out as well. Okay, that is exactly what the data engineers do. But now they don't do it with water, they do it with data. Okay, so basically, the data engineers are like the plumbers of the data world. They are the ones that even make data available to the data analysts and the data scientists. I talked about how the data analysts and the data scientists, they're able to answer, oh, this one answers 2 questions. This one answers 3 questions. This one is able to analyze data. If they didn't have a data engineer, they will not even see any data to analyze. So the data engineer is the one that makes that, possible, makes the availability of data possible. So whenever a data analyst needs that data, they can retrieve it. Whenever a data scientist needs the data, they can also retrieve it. Now, data engineering is highly technical, very coding heavy. So if you're interested in coding, like you're very interested in coding, learning all of these technicalities, you can go for the data engineering program. So you're going to be learning, we'll start off with introduction, of course. Introduction into data engineering, SQL, which is the language of the database, how you communicate with your data, whether you are a data engineer, a data scientist, or a data analyst, you learn SQL. Then you learn Python programming, the way a software developer would learn Python programming. So that is to tell you that you're going to be writing code. All right, we go into Linux, then you also learn how to build custom ETL pipelines. ETL means to extract, to transform, and then to load. So how do you extract water from your borehole? How do you extract data from somewhere? How do you also, because if you talk about the plumbers, when they extract that water from the borehole, when they're trying to transfer it to the tank, they also they add a filtration system so that it can make sure that the water that is getting into the tank, the storage tank, is clean water. So how do you transform whatever data you have extracted? You clean it, you transform it to make sure that it is clean, and then you load it into your storage tank. All right. You learn how to build your ETL pipelines, databases, APIs, web scraping, everything that you need to learn. Then you'll be learning the data automation tools as well, for data pipeline automation, like your Apache Airflow, your Apache Spark. Now, if you're also interested in cloud computing, cloud engineering, you'll be learning GCP, Google Cloud Platform, Azure, as well as AWS, Amazon Web Services. Then you learn GitHub control, version control using GitHub, as well as ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. Now, if you are not interested in coding, heavy coding, do not go for data engineering. Okay, it's okay to start as a data analyst or a data scientist and later upskill into data engineering. That's a beautiful thing about tech, very fluid. You can even start as a project manager and tomorrow you wake up and you say, I want to become a data scientist. It's 100% possible. The sky is your limits, when it comes to tech. Now let's go into financial analytics. Now, I usually recommend financial analytics to finance professionals or people who have a background in accounting, economics, finance. If you're a finance person, you deal with money, you deal with numbers. A financial analyst is a type of data analyst that has now decided to niche down into financial data. All right, so you have, your problem solving, your Excel, your Power BI, and your SQL. Because the truth is, the financial analytics program is actually 2 in 1. Okay, so you have data analytics and then you have the finance aspect as well. So, you're learning what a data analyst would learn, how to use data, how to use Excel, Power BI, SQL, problem solving. But then we take it a step further and we go into the accounting fundamentals, your income statements, your balance sheets, your cash flow statements. The accounting professionals on the call, they know what I'm talking about. So we go into that, even your double entry system, how do you differentiate between your assets, your liabilities, and your equity? What is the difference? What is the accounting cycle? Everything you need to know about accounting. Again, like I said, accounting fundamentals. So take it as accounting 101. All right. And then we go into financial analysis. How do you carry out financial analysis for your organizations? Because, of course, as a financial analyst, the finance department in any organization is equally as important. All right. Because you're the ones that you're able to gauge and analyze the financial performance of the company. How much are we making? Are we in the blue books, the red books or the black books, whatever it's called? How much are we making? Are we losing money? Are we bleeding money? You are able to carry out all of this analysis. And then we teach you financial modeling as well. This is how, very similar to the work of a data scientist, okay? When they predict, you learn how to build financial models, that can help with projection. Now, for people who work or have experience working with corporates, sometimes they want to be able to tell, this is 2025, they want to be able to tell that by November of, 26th, sorry, by November 2026, right? This is how much we would have made. Or, by November 2027, this is how much we would have made. So this is how much we need to break even. Oh, we just spent this money. We spent this huge amount of money. We spent $3 billion acquiring a new company. Now, you can build a projection for that company to say, for us to be able to make back this $3 billion we spent, it's going to take us 3 years. And this is how we're going to be making the money every month. Okay, this is an underrated skills. Organizations are looking for it. Someone who can build financial models for them that can tell them, look, by 2027, you would have made $2 billion. By 2028, you would have made $7 billion, and so on and so forth. And then we go into valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, and of course, ChatGPT, okay? You learn how you can leverage AI to your advantage as a financial analyst. Now, let's move on to the next one. The next one is HR analytics. Now, as an HR analyst, you're also a type of data analyst that has now decided to niche down into HR. So I recommend this to my HR professionals. If you already have a background in HR, you're looking to upskill, or you're interested in HR, but you don't want to do the regular HR, just sending emails. Oh, did this person come to work? Did this person not come to work? How do you make decisions backed by data? So it's more than, your job is more than, because if I have HR professionals on the call, you agree with me that HR is a very underrated, profession. People just really think, oh, HR, is it not just to be hiring people or, to be doing recruitment? MK says that's my niche. So I'm not sure if it's talking about HR or it's talking about financial analytics. All right. But, MK, I think you're talking about financial analytics. And I'm happy to hear that. Now, for the HR analyst, you want to, thank you for that, MK. So for the HR analyst, you want to make sure that you are better than the regular HR manager, human resources. No, now you want to be able to add data to what you are doing as an HR manager. So you're using data-driven insights to support your normal human resources, functions, how you relate with your employees in the organizations. Now your focus is on optimizing the HR processes, the employee performance, and also managing the talent of that organization to make sure they don't leave. But now you're not just guessing, okay? You are learning how to do that using data. So similar to just like FA, which is financial analytics, it's a combination. HR analytics is a combination of HR and data analytics, 2 in 1. Okay, so you're going to be learning data analytics, and then we go into HR. So your KPIs, your HR KPIs, and performance evaluation, your attrition metrics. How do you check, if the company is bleeding talent? How many people have left this company from January to date? Is this something we should be scared of? How do you take a look at the trends? Compensation and pay equity analysis, collaboration and recruitment, tracking automation. You learn how to automate repetitive tasks, especially when it comes to recruitment. How do you build a dashboard to track your recruitment? And then, human resource management system, your HRMS, how do you learn how to use these systems, as an HR manager? And also, how do you leverage ChatGPT to make your work easier? I tell people, we're no longer in the era of trying to work, doing something for 5 days. If you can do it in 1 day using AI, leveraging AI, do it. AI is here to stay. And it's not here to compete with us. It's here to make our jobs easier. All right. So you're going to learn how to leverage ChatGPT and AI in your role as an HR analyst. Now, we'll come to cybersecurity. Who is a cybersecurity analyst? I love to call them security guards. I mean, from the name cybersecurity, but now they're not just your average security guards that stand at your gates, right? They're, the digital security guards. So these are the superheroes that are able to block attacks from hackers, able to make sure that hackers do not get into a system. They are guarding and manning the networks, the systems, of organizations to make sure that, hackers are not able to get in to steal our money or steal sensitive information. Now we have 3 teams in cybersecurity. We have the red team, we have the blue team, and then we have the purple team. Now, when we talk about the red team, these are the attackers. These guys are on the offensive. These are the people that, simulate attacks on systems. So that's where we have penetration testing. penetration and vulnerability testing, your VAPT, where you have people who try to simulate attacks into ethical hackers, right? That try to simulate attacks into an organization's app or a database or network. So for example, say, we are the NHS or the CBN in Nigeria, right? And we have sensitive information. Now we're trying to launch a new application or something. Now, before we go to the market, we then engage a penetration tester. And we tell this person, please come and try to hack into our system to tell us if it is easy to hack in. So we want to make sure that, we are paying somebody now to hack in, right? We want to do that so that in the future, we don't have, all these external hackers that are malicious hack into our system and steal our data. So we pay someone, we say, please, can you try to hack in? So if it is easy to hack in, let us know. Now, the penetration tester comes in, it looks for vulnerabilities, it simulates an attack. It will act like an external hacker and try to hack into that system. And then he's able to prepare a report and say, look, I was able to hack into your system in 5 minutes. Your system is not strong at all. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. You need to make sure your system is more secure. This is the area you should. So now what that person does is it points out the vulnerabilities in the system so that the company can fix it before they go to the markets. All right. To prevent external hackers from getting in. That's an example of the red team. Then we have the blue team. Now, the people in the blue team are the defenders, all right, the calm guys. Those ones don't like to fight. What they do is they block attacks. So they are constantly manning their systems. They set up, alerts, they set up triggers and whatnot, so that when someone is trying to hack into the system, their system, the company system, they get an alert. They're able to block that attack immediately. So when we talk about the blue team, we're talking about people like the SOC analysts, for example. All right. And then we have the purple team, which is our specialty here at 10Alytics. Now, if you're familiar with your primary colors, you know that blue plus red would give you purple, okay? Now, the purple team are professionals who have experience in both the red team and the blue team. If it is penetration testing, you have experience in it. If it is SOC analysis, you have experience in it as well. Now, the reason for this is very simple. These days, organizations don't just want, yes, you might be a specialist, you might be a penetration tester, but they still want you to have at least some knowledge of, SOC analysis, activities of the blue team. So what we did was we merged the both of them. So you don't have to first take a training in the red team and then pay another money to take another training in the blue team. No, you're going to learn the both of them. And then when you are now done, you're now able to select and say, oh, when we were in class, when they were teaching us penetration testing, I really liked it. So that's where I want to specialize in. I want to specialize in penetration testing, or I want to specialize in SOC analysis, because a lot of times we might not necessarily have the information we need before going into this program. So if you just go and pay for SOC analysis now, what happens if you get in and you don't like it? So we make sure that you learn everything that you need to learn from the two teams, and then you are able to now make the decision on your own. Of course, if you're also looking to get into GRC, that is something that is embedded in this program as well. If you're looking to get into governance, risk, and compliance, you'll also be learning governance and compliance frameworks. That's your ISO 27101, as well as compliance audits and policy development, as well as security awareness training and reporting. Okay, so now, at least I believe that from my little explanation of these 8 different programs, you've been able to identify where the one that suits you best, where you fall, the category that you'd like to get into. All right. Now let us move on. Just in case you still don't know, that is okay. Again, it's nothing to be shy about. I'm going to be putting a link in the chat right now. And it's a fun quiz. We have this very short quiz, and my colleagues are also going to be putting the link in the chat shortly. Just make sure, if you're still confused, you don't know which one to join, I just put a link in the chat. Make sure to click on that link. It's going to take you 2 minutes, roughly 2 minutes or 1 minute. You're able to take the quiz, and then you'll be able to ascertain the best career path for you. So if you don't already know what you want to do, you can go ahead to take that quiz that I just put in the link. Now, how do you get a job? Because all these things I've been saying, I'm sure there are people that are like, Elizabeth, let's get to the main thing, the main reason why we're here. How do you get a job? Here at 10Alytics, we have something we call the job offer formula. Now, it's a formula that has been tested multiple times and trusted, because we've been able to use this same formula to help over 3,000 people. People with no background in tech transition from their current jobs into the classroom, and then from the classroom into their first tech job all around the world. All right. And what is this formula? It's simple addition. T plus E, your technical skills and your employability skills. Now, what are your technical skills? Your technical skills are all the things I highlighted. If it's for business analysis, your draw.io, your process mapping, your data tools, your project management tools, and so on and so forth. If it's for cybersecurity, your Bob Suite, your Kali, your Splunk, those are your technical skills. All those things that I explained for the different programs. But then how do you now stand out? Okay, yes. Oh, I'm a data analyst. I know how to use Power BI. I know how to use Excel. I know how to use Tableau. Okay, and then you meet 50 other people that also know how to do what you're doing. So if you and those 50 people apply to the same job, how do you make sure you stand out? That is where what we call your employability skills come in. You need to be employable. You need to be marketable, because it's okay. It's one thing to have the skill, but how do you even let people know that you have the skill in the first place? Now, here at 10Alytics, we offer 8 different employability services. The very first one is your CV review and revamp. So we are going to revamp your CV for you. 2 months into the program, we ask you to submit your current CV, right? Whatever CV it is you have, whether it is in care, whether it is as a teacher, it doesn't matter. Submit your CV, and then we will now work on that CV for you and help you with your packaging to make sure that your CV is also ATS friendly, so that when you apply to jobs, it gets to the desk of a recruiter. A lot of us don't know that when we apply to jobs, the moment you click on apply, there's something that looks like a little rat right at the door there. That once you apply, that thing just flings out your CV, right? So you're applying, there's the ATS, it's called the applicant tracking system. It flings out your CVs. It's an AI tool that recruiters use, and they program this tool and say any CV that does not have this word or this buzzword or XYZ, fling it out. So once you submit your CV and it doesn't have that word, you won't even know. You will be waiting and be saying, God, please let me hear back from this company. You will not know that immediately you clicked on apply, that CV was flung out. Nobody took a look at that CV. So now we are going to make sure we revamp your CV so that it's ATS friendly. It is able to scale past that applicant tracking system and get to the desk of a professional, the desk of the recruiter, so that a human being takes a look at this CV and then is impressed by what you have on the CV. The next service we have is the LinkedIn optimization session. And this is where we teach you how you can also strategically position yourself out there, build in public, so that you can also land jobs via LinkedIn. We have a lot of participants also that, yes, they were applying to jobs on Indeed, Glassdoor, and so on and so forth. They were minding their business, and then one day they got a message. Matter of fact, I have someone who reached out to me today to tell me, "Hi, Elizabeth, please, a recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn, and she said she would like to have an interview with me." Now, I'm telling you that this is something that happens. It's possible. And it's only possible when you optimize your LinkedIn. So when they come across your LinkedIn, they're impressed and they reach out to you. They're the ones that send you a message and say, "Please, we have an opening in our company right now. If you're interested, if you're available, we would like to have a conversation with you to see if you are the right fit for us." So we'll teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Next, we have navigating the job market. Now, this is where we have sessions. We bring professionals to come and teach you how you can navigate the job market, what it is that you can do, to land a job in these different, this is a new terrain for a lot of us. It's a new skill, or some people are just even just relocated to the UK. You don't know how the job market is in the UK, or how the job market is in Canada, or in the US, or wherever it is in the world that you are. And we have professionals that come to the classroom and explain these things to you, so that it's easier for you to also settle in and land a job. Next, we have interview preparatory sessions where we prepare you for interviews. So it doesn't matter how many interviews you land. If you land 50 interviews, you can book a one-on-one session with a professional here at 10Alytics 50 times. We don't complain. We will prepare you for that interview. And this, of course, increases your chances of getting the job, because this is how we now coach you on how you can answer, the questions, how you negotiate your salary, so that you are able to get something that would benefit you as well. So we tell you, okay, you know what, Oluchi, now, this company you apply to, this company you're going to interview with, these are the kind of questions they ask. These are the likely questions. Now, Oluchi, if they ask you this question, this is what you should say. If they ask you about this experience, this is the project you should show them. This is what you should say. Now, what this does is that by the time you're going into the actual interview, your confidence is boosted. At least you are 70% ready for the questions they'll throw your way, and you know how to answer them. The next is the job reference letter. Yes, we provide reference letters when you land a job. If you land a job and the recruiter asks you to provide one of your previous employers that can give you a recommendation letter or a reference letter, you can put us at 10Alytics, or you can put our partner company, Amdari, and we'll provide you with a reference letter to help you secure that job. Next is on the job support. Now, this one is not very, very, popular. But when you land a job and, maybe your first month, you still don't know how to go about things, what to do on the job and all of that, right? You get one task and you're sweating. You don't know how to execute this task or carry out this task. You can come back here at 10Alytics, book a one-on-one meeting, a one-on-one session with a professional, and we'll now provide guidance on how you can execute that task. Now, this is outside of the classroom, on your job. We'll still provide you with guidance on how you can go about it. And next, we have weekly mentorship sessions, like the name implies. Every single week, you have mentors. You get a mentorship session, you have mentors that speak to you. You're able to learn from people who have that experience so that you know exactly what to do and what you're getting once you get into the job market. So aside that, we also have, access to exclusive visa sponsorship jobs. We pay for them. Every single month, we are paying money. We're paying a lot of dollars to have access to these jobs. And then once we pay for them and we get them on a weekly basis, we share them with you. So this is an example of a job tracker in the data analytics program. You can see the job title, the name of the company, the location, if the job offers sponsorship, if it's a remote job, if it's an on-site job, and also the link to apply. So all you have to do, go to your Google Classroom, open the sheet, and start applying to jobs, right? Once we give you a CV. Yes, of course, you're out there applying to jobs, but these are jobs that you'll not just find on LinkedIn, you'll not find on Indeed. These are exclusive jobs that you can also, apply to and get, interviews that will prep you for as well. All right. Like I said earlier, you will also have the unique opportunity of including 10Alytics and Amdari on your CV. Okay, so we are able to provide you with a reference. We always tell our participants, don't put it out there that you're training with 10Alytics. Say that you're consulting with us. You're a consultant. You're a data consultant. You're a business, consultant. You're a project consultant. You're consultant with us. And that way, it also helps to build your experience in the field. Now, let's talk about some success stories. I've been talking for so long, right? And some people are here saying, it sounds interesting, but am I sure? How am I sure I can do this? I want to show you a couple of people. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. Again, make sure to fill the attendance form so you can have access to my slides, and you can, go over all of these testimonials. They're linked on the slide. We'll start off strong with Esther from the Agile Project Management Program. Esther was a carer in the UK, and within 4 months, she was able to transition from being a care worker to getting her first job in the UK, right? The first thing Esther did was to learn. She joined the 10Alytics Agile Project Management Program in April 2025. I'm very proud of Esther because Esther was in my class. So this is a story that I know like the back of my hand, right? She joined in April 2025. We revamped her CV for her. We helped her to package herself. I was prepping her for multiple interviews. We prepped her, every time she got an interview, she'd say, Elizabeth, I have a new interview. I'll say, okay, book a session on my calendar. Let's get to it. Let's work on this. And I prepped her for, I think about 3 interviews. The first time she did it, she came back to say, Elizabeth, I didn't get it. I said, no problem. Don't worry. I'm here for you. Just keep applying. The second time she booked another interview prep. I prepped that. And then the third time she finally got the job. So she was applying to jobs. Now she also applied to multiple jobs from our job board. That tracker I showed you earlier, when we send you exclusive jobs, she was applying to a lot of jobs, UK, US, everything she was applying. And finally, on the 1st of July, 2025, she landed a job with the civil service in the UK, working a hybrid schedule. So she works 3 days at the office and then 2 days from her home in Manchester. She got the job 4 months into the program. Esther's testimony is linked here. All right, you see it linked here. So once you get access to the slides, go ahead to click on the testimonial so you can watch it. Let's take a look at Christian. Christian got a job at the age of 18 as a data analyst, a data processor and analyst. You know, Christian's brother. Now, this is to tell you that there are no, you know, age restrictions. You can, even if you don't want to register for the program, you can put in your son, your daughter, your younger brother. Christian's brother paid for it, believed in him, and he registered him for the data analytics program. And today I'm telling you that Christian is an 18-year-old that is earning in 6 figures because his brother believed in him. He got a job. And now these companies, they did not care about his age. They saw what he could do. They saw his portfolio. And, you know, they were impressed. And they said, he told them, when he was sharing the testimony, he said, I told them my age. They said, we don't care. Don't worry. When can you resume? When can you start? Now, again, the power of working on projects, right? So you can be like Christian. Again, his testimonial is linked. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom in the UK, and she was able to transition into data analytics. She got a job as a data analyst with the NHS. There's so many of them. If I start talking about our success stories, we'll spend 10 hours on this session, okay? So all of them are linked here. Wonderful, wonderful stories that you can listen to and be inspired. You know, Sharon moved from being a healthcare worker in the UK to a business data analyst role in the same company. You know, a lot of times you don't even need to look outside. By the time you get the skills, and then in that company, as long as there's a department like that, you go there, you tell them, you show them your, you know, the skills you've gotten, tell them, please, I do this, I would like to move. You get promoted. In the same company, Sharon was moved from the healthcare, you know, role to the role of a business data analyst in less than 3 months in the program. All right. So she started in March 2025. In May, you know, she was able to land a job with the NHS. She was working as a care worker in the NHS, you know, a healthcare assistant in the NHS. And then she was able to transition from healthcare assistant to business data analyst within the NHS in less than 3 months. Now, let's not spend too much time. We have a lot of them. You can see them on my slides for all the different programs. Once you you know, register, click on the attendance form, fill it, you get this slide so you can go over it on your own. Look at NA sent. In fact, this was the message that she shared with us. And she says, everyone needs to know how good you are. Okay. She completed a data science internship with us in December 2024. She landed a job in April 2025. All right. And she landed a job so she is, you know, in the UK, and she landed a job working for a company in Germany. So it is global, it is worldwide. It doesn't matter where you are, you're able to leverage on all of these skills. So we have so many of them, so many of them. I don't want us to stay here for too long. But then the question on everybody's mind, how can I start today? You can join our next cohort that starts on the 8th of November, this Saturday. I always tell people the earlier the better. If you want to be, I call them class of 2026, right? The people that land jobs February, March. You know, there's some people that are actually going to land their first tech jobs in March, in February, in January. Now, if you want to get into that class of 2025, you need to start now. All right. A lot of us have been postponing. We started this year with our New Year resolution. I want to get into tech. This year is the year. 2025 is my year. This is November. You have not started. I'm here to tell you it's not too late. Okay. We have a class starting on the 8th of November. And because you are here, we have a discount currently running. The discount ends in the next 24 hours. In the next 24 hours, you know, you can register for any one of these programs. Now, my colleagues are going to be dropping the link to registration very soon. I'm also going to walk you through what that looks like. Now, you can register for any one of these programs and, you know, leverage a 25% discount. So instead of paying 1,000 US dollars or about 820 pounds, if you're in the UK, instead of paying the full price, you're able to pay 750 US dollars instead. And you're also able to pay in installments. So you can split your payments for as many as 5 times. You don't have to pay all at once. All right. Now, let me show you what that looks like shortly. I'm just going to confirm that my colleagues are putting the link. Fantastic. I see Arafat. Arafat just puts the link to registration in the chat. Okay. Now, let me show you how to register. Now, once you click on the link that my colleague Arafat dropped in the chat, you're able to see the list of all the programs that we offer. Now, make sure that you don't get distracted, okay? Whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's product design, whether it's other project management, whether it's business analysis, I want you to lock it. Identify your program and register, because they all look good and they all sound good. So if you start looking, if you go and read about financial analytics and read about it, start saying, hey, which one should I choose? But once you know the one you want to go for, if you're going for business analysis, someone like Dio and Oluchi, they're interested in business analysis, just go straight and, identify your program of interest. Business analysis, click on buy now. Then it opens up the program description, every single thing you need to know about the program, the curriculum, the minimum number of projects. You get to see so many different things, the course instructor, the job opportunities available to you, and so on and so forth. Now, you want to click on enroll now right here. So once you click on enroll now, you'll be prompted to create a free account with us. All right. You'll be prompted to create a free account. It's going to take you less than 1 minute. We need your full name, your email address, as well as your phone number. Okay. And then once you are able to do that, you go ahead you see that the 25% discount is already applied. So you're able to confirm your enrollment. Now you can select when you'd like to start. Now, something we also did was we noticed that, for a lot of people, November is too soon. I mean, I just said this Saturday. So you're also able to register in advance. So yes, you want to start in December, okay? But you don't want to miss out on these discounts. So you can actually register right now for the December class. And the discount still applies. The instrumental plan still applies as well. All you have to do here is select when you would like to start. So if you select December, for example, and then you move on to the payment plan. Now you see the payment options. Depending on where you click on this link from, you're going to see the pricing in your local currency. If you're in the UK, you're going to see it in pounds. If you are in an European country, you see it in euros. If you're in Nigeria, you see it in naira, and so on and so forth. So let me just toggle it on. We also have a currency selector right here. If you see where my cursor is, let me zoom in so that we see it very well. So you see it right here. So you're able to also select the currency you want to pay in. So even if you are in Nigeria, but you have a US dollar card and you want to pay with your US dollar card, you can select the currency you want. So let me just select pounds, for example. You see that the pricing changes to pounds, okay? So it was in US dollars before. Let's go back to US dollars. But now when I select pounds, it changes to pounds. If I select Canadian dollars, it also changes to Canadian dollars. So you are able to select the currency you want. So let's leave it as pounds for now. So back to the payment options. Like I said, you're able to split your payments for as many as 5 times. Now, the full pricing of the program, all the programs, except the product design program, I'm going to walk you through that shortly. But for all the other programs, the price is £820 or 1,000 US dollars. However, if you're able to get in with a 25% discount, instead of £820, you pay 615. So you're able to save about £205. Now, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Whenever someone tells me there's an opportunity to save money, that's why a lot of us, we like to buy things when they're on sales. Even if it's 5% off, 10% off, let me just know that I'm saving money, especially because of the festive season that is around the corner, right? We want to at least have some money to spend as well. Now, you are able to get in, and save £205. And like I said earlier, you're able to pay installmentally. So you're able to split your payments for as many as 5 times. You can decide to pay everything at once, all at once. You can decide to pay 2 times, 2 monthly installments, 3 installments, 4 installments, or 5 installments. You just select the one that is convenient for you. So what that means is that, for example, if you select 5 installments, you are saying, I heard about your discount that is currently running. £615 is a good deal, but I don't have £615 to pay. I have only £123. Please, I want to start my class. Whether you want to start in December or you want to start in November, this Saturday, you are able to pay £123 right now and you get into class on Saturday. So, and then what it just means is that you're committing to paying £123 every month for the next 5 months. So you remember Solomon, when Solomon was presenting, Solomon said he will complete his payment by December. So you see that there's that payment plan. So you are learning, you're getting the skills. Look at the skills that Solomon has acquired and he has not even completed his payments. Okay, so it's something that you are able to do. There's this flexible plan for everybody. So you just select what you can do. Now, for people who are looking to pay once or twice, you get an additional discount. So instead of £615, you get to pay £585 instead if you're paying once or twice. But once you start to split your payments for more than 2 times, you get to pay £650. So once you do this, select your preferred payment plan and click on apply discount. Let's just give that a minute while it applies discount. So now it has applied the discount. Now there's another thing that you can do. So when it applies the discount, it shows you a breakdown of how you will be making your payment. So it says, oh, so your first payment is today, for example, 5th of November. Your second payment will be due 5th of December. The third one will be due on the 4th of January, and so on and so forth. Every 30 days, basically. Now, if you look at it and you're like, my next due date is 5th of December. I will not have money on the 5th of December. I will only have money on the 25th or on the 10th or on the 15th of December. You can choose a convenient date. Now you see this section here where it shows you edit dates. You are able to edit your next payment date to a comfortable date for you. So instead of your next payment date to be on the 5th of December, for example, if you click on edit dates, sorry, let me zoom out. If you click on edit dates, you are able to choose, okay, instead of the 5th of December, I would like to pay on the 8th of December instead, and you save it. Now, what it just did for you is that it's edited your subsequent payments. So you're able to actually select when you would like to pay, when it's convenient for you, to make your next payment. Now, once you're done with that, you just want to confirm all of your information and go ahead to make your payments with your card. Easy peasy. Now, I said this discount ends in 24 hours. We only have 20 slots. Every time we open a discount like this, we only open for 20 people. I know we have more than 20 people on this call. I actually had to speak to my colleagues to start the count all over again, because before I joined this session, we already had, out of that 20 people, we already had 10 people that had made payments. I said 10, maybe 10 slots would not be enough. Let's open it up. So we need 20 people right now. 20 people that are interested, go ahead to make payments. Elder says, I keep registering and it says invalid email. I've used two different emails. Philip says, can I register on Friday? So you know what? Put your questions in the chat. I'm almost done and I will be taking those questions shortly. So I just walked you through how you can make your payments very easy. And then now let me answer these questions. Philip says, can I get the 25% if I register tomorrow? Absolutely, Philip. But like I said, first 20 people. Okay. So Philip, if 20 people register today, by the time you come tomorrow, you will not see the discount. So I always tell people as fast as possible, right? It is grab your copy now. All right, now for Elder, I don't know why I see you in the chat. Please, can you reach out to Elder and just guide him? Okay, fantastic. So I don't know why I just put something in the chat for you, Elder. So you're trying to register and it says invalid email. Kindly reset your password. Click on the reset password option and then go ahead to reset your password. So you forget your password, you create a new password, and then you'll be able to, register and complete it. All right. Philip says, can I register on Friday and start on Saturday? Now, Philip, that will be too late. Okay. You can't register on Friday and start on Saturday. Again, first 20 people. So by the time you come around on Friday, we don't want to have to tell you stories and say, when you go back to the site, that's nice, $1,000. So try, if you can pay right now, right? Remember, as the minimum of £123 or $150. If you can pay right now, do that. Because I can see that some people have started clicking the link. I can see the traffic on the site. We're more than 20 people on this call. First 20 people will get the discount. So let me see if I have more questions in the chat. Okay, so I see, let's see. Desiree says, I love Eddie. Okay, I'm guessing you have connected with her on LinkedIn. Okay. Any other questions? So I don't see any more questions in the chat. Does anyone have a question for? Oluchi says, will there be live classes held every week? No. So you must have missed it, Oluchi. I mentioned that you have live classes 2 times in a month. Your live classes, we call them live classes. the two times in a month. Now, please, if you missed it when I spoke about it, fill the attendance form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat so that you can have access to the replay of this session. So 2 Saturdays in a month, you have a live class. However, when it comes to drop-in sessions where you can unmute your mic and ask questions, you have that 2 times every single week. Okay? So let's see. All right, so I believe I've been able to answer your question, Oluchi. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining and listening in. I hope you are able to go ahead and start securing your spots, okay? Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for Friday. Go ahead and start securing your spots now, all right? So that you can utilize the discount. So thank you so much for joining this session. I hope this was a very insightful session for you. Remember, like I said, there's so many, sorry, just give me a minute. There's so many different resources linked on this slide. Even though I'm stopping here, you can see that we still have so many success stories on the slide. So make sure you're filling the attendance form so you can have access to all of these things. You can also view our accreditation. 10Alytics is accredited by the American Council of Training and Development. So when you get a certificate from us, it is worldwide. Okay, it is globally acceptable or globally accepted. So, and you're also able to see some of the companies that some of our participants are currently working in. So there's so many wonderful things on this slide. Make sure to fill the attendance form, and I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Please enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Now, Anita just put in the chat. MK says, do you accept PayPal? MK, please just navigate to the site immediately. Go to the site right now. Okay. Don't even wait. Click on the link. Go to the site. Go and make your payment. You're able to make your payment using your card. All right. That's the easiest way. Just go there, get your card details, and make your payments immediately. All right. So you don't have to, because by the time you keep trying to think about it, you say you want to sleep on it. By the time you wake up tomorrow, the discounts may be over or the registration has closed. So make sure to go ahead to register. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Please enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you, at least a lot of you, I will see you in class on the 8th of November. All right. Bye, everyone.